just referred to as the GDSR. And I don't know, your banks, my bank doesn't really talk about it, but I actually, when I was renewing my mortgage, I'm just a math teacher, right? Essential. So I'm like, is the GDSR still a thing? Is that still being used by you guys? And they were like, yep, that's very much being used to this day. So it's still, what is the gross debt service ratio? It's basically a way to find out whether or not you can afford a house. Because let me put it this way, you can't just go ahead and buy whatever you want. There's a limit. It's limited by your income. And so it's a key component to calculating if you can't afford a house. Right? How much you can afford to pay for a house in a sense. It compares your total cost of your monthly mortgage payment, taxes, and heating to your gross monthly income from all sources. And just to make sure you understand, a mortgage is the loan you take out from a financial institution for a house. Okay, this is where you need to highlight again. This is very important. The GDSR states that your monthly housing cost must not be greater than 32% of your monthly gross income. Okay. Think about it. A third, like they don't want you to spend more than a third on housing. And the reason being is like you need a lot of other things. You need groceries, you need, pay for your car, you need transportation of some sort. And so they don't want you to spend too much on the house. In 2008, when the recession hit in the States, banks were giving out mortgages to like 19-year-old, just out of high school students, and they were having like two different mortgages in two different states. For renting, they rented them out, but so the banks realized, wait a minute, we're giving out money, and we don't even know if that person can pay for it, right? So that is one of the reasons the economy collapsed. The housing market in particular went down the drain because all these people couldn't pay their mortgages all of a sudden. It created a big issue. In Canada, it's a lot more regulated. You can't just go and get a mortgage. Like, you're gonna have to pass a bunch of tests. Okay. If someone's GDSR is 32% or greater, the bank will not approve the mortgage. Okay. If they figure out that it's greater than 32, you'll probably not be approved. You have, when it comes to housing costs, watch this carefully. Housing costs, I'm doing this on purpose. Leave the monthly out for now. I'm going to use a different highlighter. But they take your mortgage payment, your heating costs, and the property taxes. Those are the three things that go under housing. And I will use a different highlighter for the monthly because it's so important that you make sure you have them all in monthly amounts. Okay. For this to work. So here's the formula for GDSR. Don't add this to your study sheet because it takes up too much room. It's right here. If you have the yellow, the GDSR, that formula that I'm about to give you is right there. So unless you have lots of room, don't add it. But I will just make sure the GDSR takes three things at the top, right? Your mortgage payment, the property taxes, and the heating bill. You might be like, heating bill, what is that, right? It's your natural gas, okay? I won't add that. That's not important. It will tell you. The question will always tell you. Now watch this. You divide it by your monthly income. And I will also add this to your answer is stated as a percentage. Make sure you add that there. as a percentage. So just so you know, income, this income that the bank considers is from all income, from all sources. So let's say you want to buy, if you make $15 an hour, this is a little life, if you make 15 bucks an hour, right? Let me clear out, 15 bucks an hour. A full week has 40 hours. So you'd be making 600 bucks a week. How many weeks are there in a year? You remember? 52, right? So you'd be making 31,000 a year. This is gross, right? This is not no taxes deducted, nothing. So they just look at your gross income. So I can tell you this isn't going to cut it for a mortgage. Nowadays, it's not going to get you to even a starter home. They would not approve you. So what are you going to do? Rob a bank? Can't do that, right? Hopefully you don't do that. You need more income. So how can you make it happen? Because you might be a person that saves a lot and can actually afford the house, but what's 32% of this? Right, about 10,000. Okay. Anyways, this is what you do. You go get a cosigner. It could be your parents or someone that really trusts you, right? Like you don't want just anybody to co-sign with you. But let's say your parents are like, you know what, I'm willing to co-sign with you. So they take your $31,000 and your parents is whatever they make. If it's your dad or mom signing, let's say your dad makes 75,000 a year. Now all of a sudden your income is 106,000. But your parents' name is going to be on the title of that home. It's not going to be your home. It's going to be you and whoever co-signed, which means you can't just sell it whenever you want, or you're going to have permission of everybody that signed for that mortgage before you sell it. Okay, so you got to make sure you take that into account. Okay, we're going to talk about that a little later, but here we go. To calculate the maximum monthly amount you're able to spend on housing. So I'm just going to highlight the maximum monthly on housing that you can spend. Use this formula right here, not on your study sheet. Max housing, that's what I'm going to call it. You just take 32% and you multiply it by the monthly income. Right? So if you want to know how much can you spend on housing, take 32% times your monthly income. To calculate, watch this. If you want the maximum monthly mortgage payment that you can afford, you need to do it slightly differently. Sorry, I'm going to move stuff here. Max mortgage, that's what I'm going to call this one. The max mortgage, you take 0.32 times your monthly income, and you subtract the monthly heat, and you also subtract the monthly tax, property tax, that is. That way you get to know how much you spend on the mortgage itself. By the way, how would you know that if you're looking at a house? What are the property taxes? Two ways of doing that. I showed you that how you can spy on your neighbor, right? You can go in there and figure it out. But the best way would be to just go online. So let's say you go to realtor.ca and I'm going to type in, I want to go Seven Oaks. That's the area I'm interested in. And you go look for a house, any house. St. Anthony Avenue, sure. Right? You open that. If you look at that particular house, I don't know if you can see that, but it tells you what the price is, obviously. monthly, but look at the annual property taxes. If you zoom in, you actually know, like the owners will tell you how much you're spending on property taxes if you were to buy this home. So if you divide that by 12, then you know what you're expecting on paying on a monthly basis. Oh, just check it, or I'll figure it out. Okay, wait. I'm trying to get the heating. Anyways, thank you. Oh yeah, I haven't picked them up yet, have I? I'll be there in a bit. Sometimes they tell you the heating, other times they don't. Okay. Nikolai, page 32. Okay. Let's do a few examples before we. Time is gonna fly actually, so let's go through this. I want you to try one before we go today. The Olivers have a combined family income of this. Let's put this per month. Okay. Per month. Put that down, otherwise you're going to be confused later on. What's the maximum they can spend on housing? Maximum on housing. You go to your study sheet and you're like, oh, it's just the income times 0.32. So max housing is 0.32 times 5,800. And I will spare you the details of actually working this out. I'll just give you that this is the maximum that this family could be spending on housing. Now, I know you might say, well, why are they only considering heating, property taxes, and the mortgage? Like, there's way more that goes into housing, right? I don't know. They just decide, like, these are the ones that we're really looking for, and everything else, I guess, you can take care of that, right? So this is the maximum this family could be spending, and this would be on the mortgage, on heat, and on taxes. Okay, that's what you just figured out. Almost $2,000 that you're able to spend on these three things. Okay, so if you know the heat and the tax, you take that away from this amount to get you how much your mortgage payment could be. Okay, and still get approved for that GDSR. All right, next page, 33. 33, okay, the Olivers estimate that the houses they're looking for will cost approximately, highlight this, $180 per month on heating. I will really emphasize that it's monthly amount. Okay. The property taxes will be $3,800 per, what does it say there? Year. That's a problem. Not a big problem, but it is. You need to make sure you take note of that. Let's get that into a monthly amount right away. Monthly, we'll take the 3,800 and we'll divide it by 12. You just take that per year, divide it by 12, and we do not want to keep that yearly amount there. Let me just figure that out. 3,800 divided by 12, that is 316.67 per month. Do this right away. Don't wait, because you will get it wrong later on. What is the maximum monthly mortgage? I will highlight that. The question is asking the maximum mortgage that this family can afford. So I'll go max mortgage. I will actually start from scratch. I know I have figured this part out already, but I'll take 0.32 times their income I will subtract the heating, monthly heating that is, and I will subtract the property taxes that you're expected to pay. So the maximum mortgage, this I already know, it's 1856. We did that previously. Subtract 180, subtract 316.67, and you get 1,359.33. This is the maximum mortgage payment you can afford, okay? Based on the GDSR rule. You want to stay within the GDSR, which is you want to be under 32% if at all possible. I'll give you a rough estimate here. A $1,500 a month payment gets you a house of about $380,000. A $1,500 a month payment gets you a house of about $380,000, more or less. I will show you some real life examples, not today, but I will show you how this would work out for you if you're house hunting. If you want to be considered, if you put in an offer for a house, the one advice I would give you is go to your bank, get a letter of pre-approval. Okay? They actually look at your income, they look at how much you make, your credit rating, all of that, and they give you a letter that says RBC, RBC or TD Trust or whatever, Scotiabank or whatever, would pre-approve this individual for a mortgage of, let's say, $350,000. That way, if you go and make a bid, the person that's taking your bid, they're like, oh, look, they're pre-approved, so we won't have an issue. Because a lot of people put in an offer, they don't even know if they're going to be approved for it. So a lot of sellers, they find that kind of annoying. So if they have like 10 offers, they'll like shuffle through it. It's like, you know, take all out the ones that don't have that pre-approval and maybe just go with the ones that have that letter. So it doesn't take much. You can use it for multiple listings, right? As long as you have it, I would recommend you do it. Okay, it doesn't take long. Here it is. What if the Oliviers find a home they're thinking of buying? Now you got to pay attention. This is like the GDSR calculation itself. If there's a property tax, you want the property tax of $3,600 a year. The heating cost is $250 per month, and the mortgage is $1,450 per month. Everything is month, except for which one? The property taxes. We're going to take care of that right away. Property taxes. We're going to take the $3,600 and divide it by 12. I picked a nice round number that would just give you exactly $300 per month, but it's not always going to be a round number, okay? So now we have the taxes, the heating, the mortgage, everything in monthly amounts. We're good to go, okay? And so here we go, guys. GDSR is, let's write it out one more time. Mortgage plus monthly heat plus monthly tax divided by monthly income. You take all of this, you put big brackets around the whole thing, and just multiply it by 100. At the very end, we're going to multiply that by 100. So it looks scary, but it's not that bad. So here we go. Mortgage, $1,450. Heating, I'm going to go to scan. It's $250. And my property taxes, which is the last one, is $300 divided by your monthly income. What was the monthly income again? 5,800. Remember, we were still talking the same family. 5,800. So I'd like to make sure the top gets done first before I go ahead and multiply it by 100. I'm just going to work sideways here. So you go 1,450 plus 250 plus 300. That gets you exactly $2,000 over 5,800 times 100. Okay, so you add everything up, do that first. When you get it to here, you can actually just go ahead and you go 2,000 divided by 5,800 times 100, and so you get 34.48%, and that is the GDSR right there. It's a percentage, but it means a lot to the banks, and it should mean a lot to you as well. Because if you're anywhere over 32, you're not in a good position to be getting a mortgage. You want to be under the 32%. They're saying that if you were to take this mortgage, you would actually be past the 32%, which is it's a bit dangerous. Personally, this is not this lesson, okay? They would still probably approve you. Like if your loan officer likes you and they know you, this is still, but for this course, we're gonna say they will not be approved. The Oliviers will not be approved, comma, because the GDSR is above 32%. That is the big problem in this case. The GDSR is above 32%. Remember the expected value? You have to tell me. I don't care what the actual number is with the expected value, right? Positive or negative. Here it does matter, right? So if it's above 32%, no go. Below, it's good to go. Okay. This is stated right at the beginning. You might have been, I don't know, slightly distracted, but let's just make sure you understand that. If someone's GDSR, I would like box this in on page 32. Box that in. If someone's GDSR is 32 or greater, the bank will not approve the mortgage. And I promise you that it will never be exactly 32%. Like whichever I'm giving you, like it's not fair to you. So it'll either be below or it will be above. That's your choice. So given the example I just gave you, I want you to try example 2 on your own, okay? Figure out, it says calculate the GDSR, that's like your A part, and B, do you think they will be approved based on the GDSR? Remember, it all has to be in monthly amounts. So go for it, and I will give you the answer in a bit. Before we go, we have our mortgage, our annual property taxes. We don't like that, right? Annual property taxes, the monthly heating, and the annual income. We have a problem there. So watch this. I'm going to go property tax. Annual is yearly, right? So you want to turn that into a monthly. Income, I'm also going to turn that into a monthly amount. So just check at least to make sure you're on the right path, because I'm going to see you on this tomorrow. $191.67 per month, and the 68,000 is 5,666.67 per month. So now I have all my amounts to monthly. So GDSR is going to be mortgage plus the heating plus the property taxes divided by 5,666.67. All of that multiplied by 100. And I will also give you some answers on the back side, so you can practice if you'd like. Wait a minute. Wait, did I make a mistake? That does not look right. I most definitely made a mistake. 815 is the top. So that divided by 5,666.67 times 100 is 14.39%. Will they be approved? Yes. Yes. Ernesto will be approved, but you can't just leave it there, comma, since his GDSR is below 32%. That is the key to success there. If you want answers on page 35, I'll just quickly give them to you if you're interested. A is, hold it. A is 40.04%. 2A is 6,950. And this is 2224, 37.87%.